Hello, kids. How are you? So stay off the drugs, at least the hard stuff. Don't forget that, uh, people ask me for advice on how to be successful. And one very famous Canadian who most of you in New Zealand don't know said that if you quit, you lose. So I've always remembered that.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you guys showing up. Sorry for the delay. Been a bit ill and got things mixed up. Head still trying to get clear, but thank you. Thank you, Paul, for your patience. I really appreciate it. For everybody else watching, thank you for joining us. I'm joining with us. Send your questions or comments in the in the comment section, and like, subscribe, and share. Really appreciate it. And I want to just thank you for our guests that we've had so far. Such amazing people that we've been able to talk to who have just made a huge difference in the pop culture scene with their wisdom and with their insight and with their experiences in life, and work experiences. And
Pop
just
culture and wisdom sounds like an oxymoron to me.
It kind of does at the moment, doesn't it? Paul, do you want to introduce yourself, give you a bit of a bio, and then we'll talk.
Sure, and I get to correct one of the items in your bio for me. So,
That'd be awesome.
born and raised in Toronto. I wanted to be a nuclear physicist, and then went off to Ryerson Polytech for television and radio production, but then became a graphic designer when I left, and then I quit that to become a comedian, then joined two other guys to make a comedy troupe, and did that for 10-15 years. Did about 120 half-hour radio shows in about 3-4 years. Did a TV series and lots of live shows touring Canada from one end to the other. A very big country, sparsely populated, which I'm sure you can identify with. And then after the Frantics, I became head of TV comedy at CBC, and then spent time in Los Angeles. So I didn't work in the United States, but I spent a lot of time in the United States trying to bring back expatriate Canadians to bring their knowledge back to the country. And that was fun. That was great. And then after 3 years of that and a massive budget cut at the CBC, I went to LA to interview for a job at Paramount, and didn't wait to find out whether I got it or not. I went, you know what? This is not for me. I came back to Toronto in 91 and then started my own digital media company, marketing company. Did video games in the mid 90s, got a huge hit in Jewels of the Oracle, then shifted over to website development, and got a whole bunch of Fortune 500 companies like Daimler and McDonald's, and got tired of working for them, and then started doing created a system for small businesses. So right now, my business that I'm soon to retire from, we host about 400 websites. And in the meantime, I returned into kind of my show business comfort zone with this Call Me Chato channel on YouTube. And I just wanted to offer an inside perspective, because a lot of people were complaining about pop culture movies and TV shows, but they didn't understand what was happening from, behind the curtain. They didn't know what was going on in the executive suites, and maybe the decisions that they hated were made for different reasons than they thought they were made. So I thought that I could offer some perspective as to just how decisions were made in Hollywood and in the TV business. And I spent most of my time in sitcoms. So sitcoms are my love. It's really a tragedy to see the TV networks dying. Nobody cares about TV. I mean, network TV, nobody watches it, at least over here. Everyone's on YouTube. Hi, everyone.
True. Yeah.
And so, I started my channel, and I hit, 100,000 subscribers, and, I'm having a fun time. There you go. There's my summary. Is that okay, Aru?
That is amazing. Like, you know, this is why I do this, because I think a lot of people just see, hey, this is you know, this is Paul, call me Chato, 10 minutes or whatever time you do, and that's it. And you talk about stuff, but they don't see your life experiences. And that's what I like
Well,
to talk to
I
people
don't know how
about.
valuable it is. I'm
Well,
just as they say, I'm just wetware.
well, it feels like, when I think about it, like anything you've suddenly come up to do, like this moment, there's a journey that's
Of
brought you
course.
to it. And I love that journey and talking to people about that journey. And I mean, your greatest export for me is you know, William Shatner. You know,
Yes,
yesterday, you know, thanks to Rob, you know, Rob Mayer Burnett. Yesterday, I just remembered yesterday is the 57th anniversary of Star Trek.
right.
You know,
Which
and
actually premiered 2 days earlier in Canada.
there we go. It's always like, it's
I saw
interesting.
the first run, so I
Yeah,
am lucky enough, whether, I mean, I'll take it to my grave
yeah.
soon enough, but I actually saw the very first live run of Star Trek, and I still to this day remember how magical it was for me because I was a young person
So are you talking about like on the set or actually
on the
the
TV
film?
set as
I,
as
we
as
got
it
to see
was
it.
played out on NBC. I saw it
Hmm,
as they produced it, and it was every Thursday, I think, at the
right.
time. Anyway, I can't remember, but
Yeah, for us it was I saw the repeats in the 80s and
sure, because you're a
on a
young guy.
Saturday matinee. Yeah. Well, that's when I got to New Zealand, really. So it was about 81 I got to New Zealand, and so it was on repeat, and we had Fantasy Island, A-Team, and all that beautiful, beautiful 80s and
Excellent
90s TV
shows,
shows.
fantastic
Yeah.
TV.
And yeah, this is what like when I think about Canada, like a lot of things about Canada is that a lot of shows are made in Canada that are American, right?
Yeah,
So you look at what was it, Supernatural? A lot of that scenery and
yep,
everything is just filmed in Canada,
yep.
and it's in place of, you know, us, you know, America. Now that's of course,
X-Files were
yeah,
shot in Canada for a good number of years. Stargate SG-1, all of that was shot in Canada. The Boys
right,
shot in Canada. The absolutely wretched Star Trek Discovery and Strange New Worlds. Unfortunately, I'm glad it it gave employment to some of my good friends in
yeah,
the industry. I know a lot of people in the biz. I was happy that they were working, but
yeah,
unfortunately, it did have to be shot here for. And Umbrella Academy, I believe, was shot here.
yep,
So yeah, lots of production is done right across Canada. Yellowstone, I believe, was done in might have been done in Calgary. I know The Last of Us was done in Calgary and the
right.
environs around Calgary. So
Do you think that is due to the exchange rate in cash, or is that just because
oh,
it's
everything
like
there's
weather and stuff?
exchange rate
Yeah,
and also incentives.
right.
They're up here because of the money. Well, okay, so money is important,
Yeah.
hugely important, but you also have to have the facilities. So Pinewood
Mm,
in
mm,
Toronto, and I believe in Vancouver, built just an absolutely massive professional soundstage. So we
right.
have sound stages big enough to make, a Marvel movie. I mean, you have to have
Yeah.
the facilities. They like the fact that Americans think we're Americans, and
Mm,
we kind of sound like them.
yeah.
And we have a fantastic professional crew.
Now, I was thinking back to your, you know, when you set up the troupe, the comedy troupe. When was that?
So Rick and I became a two-man comedy group in around 78, and then in 77 and then 79, the Frantics were started. And um, we struggled at the beginning like everybody else
Mm,
does. I mean, I can talk to you about that. And then Then we started picking up steam on the live circuit. Then we got our radio show, which was in Canada. Radio was a very big deal.
Yeah.
We had about 500,000 people listening to us every single week, and that
Wow.
allowed us to tour Canada, and we would sell out, all the
Yeah.
places that we played. And then we got our TV show, which was brilliant, but it ended after 13 episodes because of reasons I just don't want to get into right now.
Sure.
Because I don't want to sound bitter, but I mean that was a long time ago. But that was fun. The TV show was great fun, and then we did another tour of Canada, the History of the World show, which was probably the best show we ever did. And we went, you know what? Let's end on a high note. And it's tough touring Canada. I mean, it's a huge country with, I mean, if any of your listeners know, the state of Pennsylvania, there are more schools in Pennsylvania to play at than in all of Canada.
Right.
So, I mean, Canada's the second largest country by mass in the world.
Okay. Like your per capita for area it is, right?
Yeah, we've got 40 million people now spread across the second largest country landmass in the world. So
yeah, we're getting close to 5 million. And Nugget, are we about that much now? Nugget's a fellow Kiwi animator from Wellington, of all places. Yeah.
But New Zealand is about the size of New Jersey or something, right?
Yeah, we like it. I think we like the sparsity. The natural. We get to enjoy everything. You can.
Oh, sure, of course.
30 minutes and you got a beach.
It's very nice.
20 minutes you got a mountain and you can go for walks and stuff. So everything's within like range. And
you've got a very lefty government.
Yeah, which is
we won't get into that.
No, we won't. I mean, pretty much following every other lefty leader around the world. So,
we have ours. I'm not berating you.
Yeah, I mean, we're
unnecessarily.
I think they're very close friends.
I think so.
So, Nuggets asking, do you still do anything live?
Not anymore. Not anymore. The group has retired, but we are putting together a mini documentary about us. And
awesome.
we finished our time. We had a fantastic time, and we resurrected ourselves in '94, and then also we had a big, massive, can't remember, 40th anniversary show, and that was huge. We just sold out the theater for that, and that was fun. And you know what? But the point that you have to remember is that you have your moment in the sun.
Yeah.
And you can't really get that back. And people who try to reignite whatever magic you had, it's mostly massively disappointing. So we just did not want to be, Aerosmith on the 80th reunion tour.
Well, talking about that, I mean, you've got
we had a good time. We had a good time.
Stones,
no regrets.
Yeah.
It was fun. I will never forget that, and I'm still friends with all the guys. I mean, that's a blessing.
Now, was it History Bites? Like I was looking at your
Rick Green
IMDb. Sorry,
Rick Green did History Bites.
Right.
He produced it. I was in one. He only put me in one of his shows. The piece of shit. Good friend that he was, only hired me once.
Yeah, that's always kind of like, I think, you sort of friendships, you always want to like support them forever. Like I'm like,
oh yeah, absolutely. The bum. But History Bites is a brilliant show. I don't know if it ever came to New Zealand, but it's a hilarious show that they wouldn't play in the United States. It was too controversial.
It's probably like the British shows that they have, that they're like Faulty Towers and stuff. They won't play anymore.
The problem with History Bites is that they dealt with the history of Christianity historically and accurately, and the Americans just can't deal with religious topics, especially around Christianity.
Yeah, aren't they the ones who said no politics, no religion at the table?
Who said that?
The Americans must have created that.
Maybe. And I mean, and that's not all Americans. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the stations that would have shown it were against it. Not that the American people were against it. It's just that the stations themselves didn't want to get into trouble.
Now, you did graphic design and stuff like that.
Yes, I did.
Tell us a bit about how you know, like from high school onwards, and what did you do after, you know, did you go to college and stuff?
Well, I was a
Um,
cartoonist in high school, and you have
right.
to understand that I came from the era of comedy that was heavily records were big.
Mm,
You know, Bill Cosby, the Goon Shows,
yeah.
Bob Newhart, uh, uh, Toady Fields, all these, Jackie Mason, all these people had records.
Right.
Fox, um, Red Fox, Filthy Records,
Yeah.
and Beyond the Fringe. And so records was a big deal. Artwork on
Mm,
records was always,
mm,
you know, that was art. Um,
yeah.
and uh, and and uh, and uh, and also there was printed comedy in the National Lampoon, Spy magazine.
Yeah.
So comedy was everywhere, on record, on the radio, in print. All mediums were covered. And so when I
Yeah.
was a cartoonist, I went to Ryerson for radio, television arts, but they did not have any art program. So I went to the
Okay.
local newspaper, or the student news, the not the student paper. There's a student paper, and then there's a student union paper. So I went to the student union paper, the eye opener, and I said, "You need a editorial cartoonist." And they went, "Yeah, sure." So I started doing editorial cartoons, like
Cool.
like Cobb,
Right.
one of my favorite artists of all time, who's dead.
Mm,
But well, no, he settled in Australia, not in New Zealand.
okay.
But Cobb was a brilliant editorial cartoonist.
Mm,
Sorry for mixing up New Zealand and Australia.
it's fine. It happens a lot.
Yeah, but I try not to. My brother lives in Australia,
Right.
so and I built up my chops as a cartoonist, and
Mm,
because I was graphically inclined, I started doing the layouts for the
right.
newspaper weekly. So back then, you didn't have computers; you
Mm,
had Letraset, and you had um, an addressograph, multigraph, typesetter header for headers, and then
yeah.
you would cut up this stuff, roll it through the beeswax
Mm,
beeswaxer that would put wax on one side of all this body copy, and you would cut it up with a X-Acto blade and paste it down onto what is called a blue board, and then
right.
that would all be compiled and sent off to the printer, and then they would photostat it and then turn it into a newspaper. So
Mm,
I got really good at that, and I did that for 3 solid years.
okay.
And then rather than going into radio, television arts, I decided to become a graphic designer,
Right.
and I made my living doing logos and that stuff. And then I got hired by Kelly Stereo Marts, who eventually made me a head of marketing, because my
Okay.
2 bosses got fired for being alcoholics. So there's a tip for you kids out there:
Yeah.
just don't be alcoholics, and you'll get work.
Is this
And
the was it due to like actually like in the 80s, you know, you're drinking on the job, or is it
no, they were
because they would show
alcoholics.
up?
They were ad agency guys. That's just part of the. It was part of
Right.
the like Mad Men.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking in my head. It's like I
Yeah,
haven't seen the show, but like, you know, I've got
yeah.
references
It's
to it because
it's
of
a good
memes and
show,
stuff.
and yeah, and so I took over, became head of the marketing department for
Mm,
the largest stereo chain in Canada, and then quit to become a stand-up comedian because
right.
I didn't want to do that anymore. Did that with Rick Green, who went on to do the Red Green Show, and also History Bites, and also a very famous the very first pop culture show ever called Prisoners of Gravity. So
Okay.
all of Prisoners of Gravity are online. He interviewed Jack Kirby, Moore, like most of the living science fiction writers at the time.
Hmm.
It's a phenomenal show, and it's all on YouTube. And I invite your viewers to
Yeah.
to watch Prisoners of Gravity.
Oh, I got that wrong. It's Gravity. Apologies for that.
Yeah,
I was
Prisoners
like
of Gravity.
talking about comedy, and it's like that's in my head. So But
It's not Prisoners of Comedy, Prisoners of Gravity.
Princess
Brilliant
Again.
show. Absolutely
Oh,
groundbreaking, brilliant show.
come to me. There we go. So that would be, was it before G4 and stuff like that?
Oh, way
Being
before
the first.
G4. Oh no,
What year
this
was
was the first.
What year was this?
I don't know. You'd have to do search for Prisoners of Gravity.
Yeah, let me just have a look. Because how long did it go for?
At least 3-4 years. Yeah, they had the last living interview with Jack Kirby.
Right. 1990 to 1994. It's awesome.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Like I talking about Jack
They're all
Kirby
on YouTube.
in about 2 weeks. I've got a gentleman who actually interviewed him before he passed, coming in about 2 weeks. His name is Glenn Fleming. Did a book
So
on everything.
so Prisoner of Gravity had the last interview, the final interview of him before he passed.
The King Kirby.
Yep.
So how long did you do stand up for?
I did the stand up with Rick 2 years, and then sketch comedy for 10, 11 years, came back, did some more. So a total of 15. But I was involved in comedy and writing for more than 20 years, and then went into management, and then spent a lot of time in LA.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. Then came back because I was also a computer programmer and a nerd.
Right.
I started programming CD-ROMs.
So a lot of people don't understand, nowadays would understand what CD-ROMs is, but I grew up on that. We're like, copying, basically songs from, from my CDs to, that I'd bought to another CD so I could actually share it with my friends, or so that I wouldn't scratch my actual, brand new CD, but I'd mess around and take my CD-ROM everywhere. So how long did you do that for, like the programming side of things?
Well, we did it up until at the time we had a Sony single speed burner that was about the size of a really big VCR that cost us $7,000.
Yeah.
So, and every one of these blanks were $40.
Yeah.
So when you burn something to develop a game and you turned them into a coaster, it was very painful.
Yeah.
Very, very painful. So,
well,
and then
talk about the cost there. I saw a stack this big at the hospice thrift shop the other day for a couple of bucks.
Oh yeah.
Like physical media, the way it's going, it's just crazy. But
well, hardly anybody's using it really. But we develop the game Jewels of the Oracle, which became a huge hit. And then after that, we decided to go into the internet because one problem was that the publisher didn't pay us.
Right.
They owed us at least $500,000. So
and this is for the game.
For the game, yeah, they owed us about $500,000, and so we decided that we're going to move on because we weren't getting paid. Jewels of the Oracle.
Oracles, my bad.
Not article.
So I was thinking, like
like
you're
the
working
Oracle,
on a game.
the Greek Oracle.
You're working on a game. You develop it. It's really well received, and then you've got
a copy of it here somewhere.
And then you've got it's the CEO, the manager, the owner of the business, or who's not paying you guys?
Well, the company that we did it with were a reasonable company, but what happened is all their other titles started tanking, and the only one that was making the money was ours. So they basically went down with the ship, clutching our. It's one of those lessons where good people become bad when they're desperate.
Yeah.
I don't care how good a person you are.
Yeah.
When you're desperate, you could, you can become an asshole, and that's what happened to these people.
Yeah, a lot of times desperation, breeds a lot of evil. I kind of think, like, in the sense of, like, you look at all the failures in Marvel and Disney, with all the, all the movies they're doing. So you've got like the latest one they said was going to be great, but they had someone that people hated, that people despised because of his behavior, right? And the Flash, and so nobody went to it. I actually enjoyed the movie, but the story and stuff, because I actually read the books, I own the books. It's based on the comic books, and I even like the the female Supergirl that was in it. I thought it was really cool, but every time I watched it, and I saw him, I was like, I hated it. It's like I hate, and I
Yep.
think a lot of people were turned
Who
off
wants
because
to
of that.
go? Well, again, this is one of those things that I try to explain on my channel, is that anyone in the business is just trying to put bums in seats or eyeballs on TV sets. That's really all they want. So how do you do that? You do that by often a Hollywood tried and true Hollywood trick is to hire people who are well known.
Yeah.
And can what is called open the movie.
Yeah.
So as good as Supergirl, I think it's girl, not Superwoman. So as good as she
Supergirl,
was,
yeah.
no one knew who she was, and she wasn't going to put any bums in the seat.
Yeah.
And she also wasn't particularly girly.
Yeah.
Which I think was problematic. It wasn't problematic for me personally. I mean, I thought she did a really great job.
Yeah.
But she did a fantastic job actually. But she wasn't presented in a very attractive way.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's just a reality.
She is quite attractive.
She
You
is.
see her in other stuff. She's got long hair, and I was like, why do they cut her hair?
Well, yeah.
It was like, well,
they
why
wanted to make her look butch, I guess.
Yeah, and
So,
I think,
and so there was no one knew who she was.
yeah,
So that wasn't a reason to see it. Ezra, nobody liked.
Yeah.
As a human being.
Yeah.
So there was that problem. And I mean, we could talk about the problems I have with the movie, but that was doomed to failure. There was really no reason to see Ezra.
Yeah. And it's the same thing that's going to happen with Flash 2. Not Flash 2, Aquaman 2 as well, because nobody wants to see her.
You're right.
Either. And that's going to be, another failure for them again. And I think,
well, you don't know. I will say you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. That's the one truism in show business, is nobody knows anything.
Yeah. Now you got into the acting with the sketch. Was it like, were you like this is like on stand up going around doing live shows, or this is sketch comedy on TV?
Sketch comedy both on TV and live. We had a variety show.
Okay. So how was this due to the live tapings of the live, when you're doing it live elsewhere, or was it actually in studio live as well?
For what? For the TV
the sketch
show?
comedy. Yeah.
Well, the TV show was called Four on the Floor, and it's on the Frantics channel on YouTube. You can see all 13 episodes, and that was done like, we weren't on stage. We brought all the sketches to life, including Canada's greatest superhero, Mr. Canoehead, Canada's aluminum-headed crime fighter.
Yeah.
Mr. Canoehead. But the live shows were, I mean, we were running around on stage. You've seen sketch shows, right?
Yeah.
So what is it? Those two guys, Flight of the Conchords.
Right.
On stage, the two of them sat on a stool and sang, and then their TV show, they ran around New York being stupid, and so we were the same.
Were you involved in the writing of the shows, or
we were all writers? That's why we had respect for each other.
Right. So this is like, getting together around the table and just writing it all together.
We would write separately and bring it in, and then read them to each other, basically pitch them to each other.
Yeah.
And then we would rewrite each other's sketches.
It's cool. It's I think like when a lot of people see like all those names there, that they go, well, who's doing what? But at least when you guys looking at, like, you come in with what you've got each week. And like last week I was talking to these comic teams. Like, they get together like in a bullpen online, and they bring drawings and stuff, and they show each other, and they get given critiques about what they can do and stuff, especially because they got like someone who's just been in it for 2 years, and got someone who's been in it for 5-6 years. When you're doing the shows, what was it like? I mean, like, you're doing the live, and then bringing that live. Are you bringing the same show from live to the TV show? Or are you doing
Well, I
new ones
mean,
for TV?
we wrote tens of thousands of sketches, and so we would pick and choose from the sketches that made sense for TV.
Right.
Right. There's sketches that we did on radio that can only happen on radio because we were in outer space.
Yeah.
Or we had crazy sketches about a fishing show where they're in a canoe and they pull instead of worms for bait, they pull out a Bengal tiger out of a styrofoam container and hook it onto the hook on the fishing rod and go.
Yeah.
So while we're sitting here waiting for the big mouth trout, big mouth bass to chomp on that tiger bait, I'd just like to tell everyone that our show is brought to you by Norwegian Chew, the chewing tobacco that tastes like you're chewing on a Viking. Anyway, and then looks like we caught it. We got it. Let's reel her in. Oh, look at that. The hook is bare. Them largemouth bass know how to nibble off the bait, don't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you just
brilliant.
couldn't do something like that without an insane 3 budget. But on the other hand, one of the wonderful things about radio is that it's theater of the mind. We actually really loved radio. We miss it. We think it's too bad that there is no theater of the mind style radio happening on even podcasts. I mean, I've heard some things, but it's just not very good.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we love doing it. So no, I mean, as a professional, you pick the sketches that you feel can be executed. We did a lot of music. So if your viewers watch the show, it's a very funny show.
Yeah, I love sketch comedy. I think that little 2, 3, 5 minutes of little amazing put together situations, and you laugh, and then you go on. Like,
well, that is the idea.
Yeah. It's just so it's exciting. I think I love sketch comedy. I think it's one of the best things, because you bring in you bring in TV, and you bring in comedy, and you bring in this interaction between these situations, and I've always enjoyed that. I think comedy is just one of the greatest things alive.
Well, except it's just sketch comedy is basically dead. I don't know what it's like in New Zealand, but sketch comedy as an art form is pretty much exhausted. Unfortunately,
which is kind of sad, because I think it feels like there's an attack on comedy itself.
No one has the attention span anymore.
True.
You have to sit there and actually watch it and kind of enjoy it, but everybody's in their phones.
Yeah. But one of the things I was thinking about is, like, I was going to read you a joke, right? This is favorite New Zealand jokes about Australians, since your brother's there. I've got 2 brothers in Australia myself, younger ones.
You're completely allowed.
Right.
I don't care. You won't offend me.
So this is one. Why do Aussie men always make love with their eyes closed?
Why do Aussie men always make love with their eyes closed? So they can well, I was going to say, in case they lose their didgeridoo. I don't know.
They hate to see women enjoying themselves. And
New Zealanders aren't the same. You're completely a different breed of people.
Well, we enjoy life a bit more, I think. we're not that serious. And despite what people may say, we're kind of like center left, classic liberals. I think is the way to majority of us are. We enjoy to be left alone to do our thing.
Well,
As
I
long
mean,
as we, not
and
breaking the law,
you view Australians more right wing.
I think they're the same, but like they have a bit more. That's why people get confused between us. I think we're pretty similar because we're so close, and because most of us have family over there.
Sure.
So we've kind of like migrated there, and we've changed them a bit to be like us, I think. So we can't really say they're too different anymore. But they are former children of criminals. So
They're former
there is
criminals.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think as a nation they do so much, and I think for us it's just great to have that sort of
they have
sandpaper kind of thing.
They have some really rough country that if you choose to live in Alice Springs or some insane place like that, or even Perth. I mean, Perth is like out like way. I mean, it's on the West Coast.
Yeah,
and with nothing surrounding it. I mean, it's an isolated community.
Yeah.
Melbourne is where all the hoity-toits hang out.
Yeah.
And
plus you can't leave your dogs outside because the snakes will get them. My brother's got a little my brother's got a little sausage dog. There's ones with like lots of flab and stuff. Dachshund, I think it's Dachshund. And they can't leave them outside. They got to keep them inside because in case of spiders or those get them.
Funnel like spiders. I saw them. I saw a funnel spider once. It was the size of my fist.
Oh,
yeah. Where we were, if we saw any snake skin after molting, we had to take it to the ranger.
Yeah. We Nuggets goes, to us Aussies are loud and brash. To them, we're not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Yes, Australians are very loud, and the Americans of the
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's like they're like Americans are like the loud people that you notice everywhere, no matter where you are. If there's an American, that's an American.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's an American.
Same with Australian.
And loud.
Australia, they abolished the letter A. Everything Australia. You can't say the letter A. Australia.
Fish and chips. So when they say chips, it's like that U is it's U instead of I. Chops.
Oh, I see.
Instead of chips. Yeah, we always get them.
On that. It's my terrible Australian accent.
Now I noticed that you do great accents. Like you just before when you're doing the
not those
the fishing one. Yeah, but the fishing one, you did a great American accent.
I can do lots of different kinds of American accents. That I don't have an issue with that at all.
Now, is this did you pick them all up as you were growing up, or was this something that you do while you're doing the troop?
Well, I mean, you do. I mean, you listen for it. It's easy to do. A New York accent. I'm getting into Boston. I'll have to work on that. So, can I do a Jackie Mason kind of American accent too? So that's not difficult for me. Because of my background, it's easy to do that kind of accent. It's not hard. But, you get the East Coast as it goes all the way down from New Jersey, and then it starts going into North Carolina. It gets very soft. And then as you get closer and closer to Georgia, then they sound like this. And then they go all the way down to Texas. And then people in Texas talk like that. That's how people in Texas go. That you can hear the way the accent evolves all the way down the East Coast there. And I used to have a pretty not a bad Jamaican accent, but I also have to have the throw in the vernacular. It says Hungarian accents I can do very easily, so that's not very difficult at all for me. Many Eastern European accents I can do. Russian accent that's not difficult either. So so you pull them out as you need them.
Now.
I do some very bad British Isle accents.
on your Twitter profile, you said with a Hungarian background. Now, do you want to talk about that, like in your family growing up and stuff?
Well, I mean, both my parents were Hungarian, and
Yeah,
my mom nearly got sent to the gas chambers. She's Jewish. My dad is
yeah,
was half Jewish,
yeah,
but because his father had converted, he actually fought for the Germans in the Hungarian army because it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
right.
But then they deserted when the SS took over from the Hungarian command to fight the war because they didn't like the way the Hungarians were fighting it because their equipment
Yeah.
was shit. My dad was a navigator in a Caproni bomber, part metal and part cloth wings. It's quite the laugh. And and so they deserted. And I don't want to get into the gruesome details because my dad had some unbelievably horrific stories, and mom narrowly escaped the gas chamber twice, being sent there, but lost most of the rest of my family in the concentration camps. I mean, then they emigrated to Canada in 46 and spent some time being discriminated against.
It's my stepfather's dad was a minesweeper in the English Channel, and he got frostbite and was sent to Russia hospital, and so they he got fixed up there. Then he got sent back, and he was not recognized as as a soldier, right, for years because he went to he was fixed up in Russia because of the change, with the Russians being the enemy now.
Sure.
It took until about the 90s before he was allowed to be registered as a returned serviceman.
Wow.
Part of the association.
Yeah.
And so that's our kind of like with this Second World War, the war, and sadly, excuse me. Sadly, like he actually got back and he died crossing the road coming home from the pub, getting hit by a car. Having survived, this frostbite in Russia, being a minesweeper, coming home from the pub, he gets hit.
That's called irony.
Yeah, and my dad was raised by two aunts during the war, and he's 83 now, I think, and so he got raised by no mum or dad, and so very then I think in the 60s and 70s he migrated to Australia, New Zealand, and so on with his best friend. He used to be a miner, coal miner in England, in Manchester. So yeah, I think a lot of us, like, especially I think this generation now, but I think my generation did a lot of reading and a lot of watching history stuff on TV. So we got to understand, well, like for us, we did social studies. So in our social studies, we were taught about World War II, World War One. My dad had a stack of war books that I could go and have a look at and stuff. But a lot of this generation doesn't have a clue about it.
No. They don't teach history anymore. They just cut off breasts from children.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really the most important thing is sterilize them and cut off their breasts and forget about teaching history.
Yeah. My little brother, nephew, I should say, is about 11 or 12, has just started going from Star Wars to World War One, New Zealand history. And for me, it's like, I got him into Star Wars because as a baby, he used to I used to babysit him and would Star Wars, the 1, 2, 3, right? The first one. And then he's all been into it all up to about 11. He was just, everything we got him was Star Wars. Got dressed up as Star Wars, had the mask, had the sabers, everything, Legos, the whole works. And suddenly he's like, World War One. And so now we're like, okay, what can we get him that's got to do with World War One? And I think there, like, I have a taxi driver who I used to drive because I use my cane to get around. And so he's one of the guys that puts on like the military shows, the weapons and military shows. And so I got, I said to my nephew, I said, hey, there's someone here. I said, my brother-in-law, I said, hey, listen, if he's into this, these are the guys. So they got people there. They're like ladies who like have families from the Maori Battalion, you know, in World War II and stuff. And so they about their family, they bring that in and they talk. So it's really great to, you know, for us, we really love our return service people because we know the sacrifices. But the sad thing, like I said, is like this generation doesn't know that stuff
No,
because they
and the schools here just seem to anyone involved with the military means war to them. It
yeah,
has nothing. They don't think of the sacrifice they made. They don't want to parade a person within a uniform because that's just about war, and it's
yeah.
just a lot of bullshit. And it's too bad.
Mm.
Yeah, that's. I mean, our school system is nuts. So
Yeah, for us, I mean, like we have like a 5 a.m. Anzac Day, which is Australia, New Zealand, right?
sure,
And morning service, you know, and it's like all across New Zealand, and it's like all our military people are there. Doesn't matter what service, even like you if you're returns, you can if you're a fireman or policeman, you
oh yeah,
can be at the
we have
return
Remembrance
services.
Day, but
Yeah,
it's just one day.
right.
And we have all sorts of other groups who get an entire month.
Yeah.
We've got one day for remembrance, and I don't want to get into that either.
Maybe that's something that maybe we should be lobbying for. That like I think our yeah I think a lot of people who actually have military family members appreciate it more than anybody else. It's like having
Sure,
a cop in the family, right? People don't know what the sacrifices the cop has to make every day watching
sure.
horrible things that
Yep.
happens. And then
Well, no one should forget,
yeah,
and anti-Semitism is rising, at least
that
here,
yeah.
and
Yeah, I thought you don't want, because I didn't want to mention that because you said I don't want to talk about that. But like, yeah, I think that's really sad because you don't, if you forget the past, you're going to repeat it again. And I think a lot of people don't realize that enough to actually think how that works, right? If you forget the sacrifices, you you will let it happen again
yeah,
because you're not.
but that doesn't matter to groups of people who must follow the rules of that particular group. And if you step outside
Yeah,
the boundaries of whatever that group has created, you are ostracized. You
right.
either accept all the rules or you accept none. Like, and this is part of the problem. So
Yeah,
part of, unfortunately, the left there's an awful lot of anti-Semites on the left. So
yeah,
people talk about the right, the Nazis and things like that, but that's a different
yeah,
kind of anti-Semitism.
yeah.
It's almost more benign because those people are just idiots. They're not
That's it.
educated.
Yeah,
It's more tragic when you've got the educated left who are, anti-Semites, and
yeah, yeah,
that's anyways, there's lots of tragedies, but lots of good things. I mean, quite frankly, my life is blessed. I've got a good
yeah.
family. My kids are great. I love my wife. We just had our 40th anniversary,
It's brilliant.
and I got to be stupid on YouTube.
Right. So how like at what age does you decide, because like that this is what were you doing just before YouTube to make you
Well,
think
I was
I
running
have
my
to do this
business
YouTube?
and continue my web business, and
Right.
one of the things I was curious about YouTube was, could it be used for business instead of blogging, get my clients to vlog,
Yeah.
maybe make a few extra dollars shooting people, and
Mm.
in the process of learning it myself, and I come from a
Mm.
TV background, I know how to direct, I know how to
Yeah.
act, know how to write. This just became something that started to do, became really interesting and fun to do, and
Mm.
it's something I can accomplish quickly. I can write, perform, shoot, edit, publish. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all you want to do. In real show business, it could take you 5 to 10 years before you get your TV show
Yeah.
on air. So it's demoralizing. It's really a lot of hard work, and then you
Mm.
get the TV show on after 10 years of slamming your head against the wall, and
Mm.
then it gets canceled after 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So here, YouTube is I'm under control. No one's the gatekeeper. I get to do what I want, and
Yeah,
I get to do fun things for my fans.
that is awesome. So how long have you been doing YouTube?
6 years.
Wow. Did you when you started, what was the experience like? Did you go, okay, I'm going to edit this, edit that, and then put it up, or were you like, okay, I'll just do it straight up? What was
No,
the
no, no.
process for you?
I've always been editing. You
Okay.
know, I've been following the trends as to how people have been editing on YouTube, and then
Mm,
I was doing it in a very let's call it a professional way to begin with. But
mm,
then I
mm.
noticed people, jump cuts and stupid shit, and anything goes. And so
Yeah,
I learned to relax and
yeah.
stop trying to make it look like a professional product.
Mm,
And then you buy new gear, new audio gear, new lighting, and stuff like that. And I'm good at lighting, and I know how to do
yeah,
audio. I'm a nerd,
yeah.
and I'm fascinated by that stuff. And and then I've shot. I'm almost up to 700 videos, which is an insane
Yeah.
amount of. I don't
It's
know why.
almost
I don't know
like
why I did it. It's like it's a crazy
yeah.
thing, but I enjoy it.
Right.
I enjoy it, and I like talking about showbiz and telling people stuff that they wouldn't normally
Mm.
guess on their own.
Yeah, like I caught the last one you did. Like I'm not sure if it's the last one, but like about One Piece, and also about gosh,
Bebop,
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, that was the
And
last one
I'm
I was
like,
doing.
yeah, I love that because I'm a huge fan of Bebop because I've got I've got the DVD set and everything, and when I saw what was happening with it, I was like, just wanted to beat myself up because it was like, how could they take something like that and all from step one just ruin it all the way through? And then I heard you talk about like One Piece being so good. When I was like, when I looked up One Piece on, on IMDb, because I was quite hesitant to watch it because I was like, oh no, here's another Cowboy Bebop, and it was like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I'm like, these guys have only been one for 1 month, and they're giving this 10. Why? It's like that whole ratings bomb, whatever they call it, and it was just like all the way through. And what I always check on IMDb, how long these guys have been on there, and what other movies have they done. And about out of 10, only one person who had given 10 had actually more than three, reviews on the movies. And I was like, well, this seems like a review bombing, and must be trash to be able to go, okay, this is the greatest thing in the world. And so when I watched your talk about it, your video about it, I actually went and watched it last night, the first episode, and I enjoyed it. I didn't, for what I thought, like this feels good. Like there was
Yeah,
nothing.
it feels good, and
Yeah,
it's joyous. It's happy.
yeah, and there was like when you watch it, it's like you there's an anime, there's a manga, because I've watched about 150 episodes or 200 episodes of them.
And
There's
I'd
about
never really
thousands.
seen it.
Yeah, but like when I was watching it, I was going, I can see the differences, but it doesn't matter in this because it's coming through in a way where they're bringing the team together. The first, couple come in, and I enjoyed it. And I was looking at, at Zoro's sword, and I'm looking around my room, going, wait, which one is it? Is it this one? Is this a Zoro sword? Because he comes in the fight scene and goes, is this the one? I was like, so I get a photo of this. I put on, the Google image search. No, this is Demon Slayer. No, sorry, it's not that one. So I go and look at this one, right? So I'm looking at this one, going, is this the one? Is this the
No,
one? No, this is
no.
not the one. Damn it. And so I go and watch all the YouTube videos about it, the weapons, and then oh great. I know I got to get me one of those now.
White
And
one.
this is what fandom does. I think when you do it right, you create a following,
Sure.
and that following will now go and buy the figures from the TV show that they've already bought from the actual manga and anime, because now you've put a good product out, you've done fan service. And there was somebody was like some big mainstream whatever website was saying, those anti-fan websites were saying, oh, there's too much fan service. Like, yeah, this is how it should be. You want to give fan service to me. You want me to get involved in it. You want me to buy the product that you're going to put out afterwards, the merchandise and stuff. You know, and I think they did a great job. I
I agree.
I believe it. You know, I couldn't believe that they actually did a good job on this, because I was like, this is going to be another terrible Cowboy Bebop, and I'm never going to, you know, accept it. And so I put off watching it until
Understandable.
Now, you mentioned about like, I mean, that was great. I don't want to like take away from what, because I want everybody to watch it, because it's a really great video about the actual thing.
No issues.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about the line producer, right? The part of it, you mentioned that. So a lot of people won't know these terms, because even sometimes I forget. I did 3 years of digital video, you know, filmmaking, and I still forget what, you know, who does what. So you mentioned a line producer, right? So can we talk about that, and who is the line producer, that people need to know why that is important?
Well, the line producer on TV is the one who collects the contracts, who helps finds the casting agent that will recommend a casting agent for you. They will recommend a set designer for you. Basically, they know everybody in the business.
Right.
So you need a cameraman. You ask the line producer to find you a cameraman. They're the ones who find everything for you. They're the ones who make you, like I said in my video, look like a genius. And you know, they'll find the people who do the honey wagon, the food truck, they won't cast anybody, but they know the people who will get stuff done. They'll get the people who do the location finding. They just know everybody in the biz, and they're the ones, you know, they go through the line producer, and that's, the person is just, you know, magical. And the line producer will also do emergency stuff, like the director, for instance, is not allowed to move non-speaking role individuals. That's against the rules. Or then you have to pay those people as soon as the director directs them. So the line producer will go out and move people around, because then it,
and you talk about the extras and stuff.
Pardon me?
The extras and stuff that are there in the crowd.
The line producer, you know, works their ass off to make the show, pull the show together.
It's amazing. I really didn't think about that. Like, I mean, the work that takes to do that, because you got to know everybody. You got to have
you got to know everybody.
Yep.
They know the makeup person. They know the scenic person. They know the lighting grips. They know everybody.
Yeah. Man, it's like their Rolodex, right? I mean, like talking about the old days, their Rolodex would be freaking huge.
Yep.
You know, and wow, I never really thought about that. I mean, like, because like when we were doing things, it was, you know, when we were shooting something, it was like, it was me running around going, yeah, we'll do it there and all that. And this, and like, you know, and now then you actually have a person that's their entire job is to do that, because then they got to hand that over to the producer. The producer then goes and gets the contract set up and all the payments and all the somebody else above them.
It depends on the producer. So the producer would be interested in the above the line contracts, the writers, the talent, the main talent, the director, all the big stuff. But the extras contracts, the not retainers, but the releases, all of that would all be handled by the line producer.
So who's above the line producer?
Pardon me?
Who's above the line producer? The next job up.
Oh, above.
Yeah.
Well, then you get into the practical. You've got the director, director of photography, the sound person. Oh, the set director, the person who designed, the set designer, and
Yeah.
the dressers. Well, the dressers work for the set designer. You've
Mm.
got the costume person. So I mean, you've got director, costume person, set designer. These are all really important people who
Yeah.
are running around constantly during the entire shoot. But in TV generally, a director is points the camera. They're not an auteur on
Right.
TV. Their job is to get the shot and move on. The producer does not want 10 different takes.
Right.
They are they're a mechanic. A TV director is a mechanic.
Just take the shot and move on. Take the shot,
Take the
move
shot,
on.
move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, talking about that, like I was just thinking, like all these people are out of work because the writers are on strike. Because it's affecting all these
Yeah,
people.
sure. Yeah.
And I feel sorry for those people. I
Yeah.
think, because of these guys who want 20 people in the room. That's all they care about. Because apart from that, because of that, all these other people are out of jobs for what, it's 100 days now.
Yeah,
Not able to do
it's
anything.
getting on.
And I think it kind of shows like the ego here. Like, I mean, I can understand a lot of things, and they've been given a lot of leeway and stuff. But I mean, when you have this sort of ego and about as a writer, and you forget about everybody else below you, you kind of think, well, when people see that, they go, well, we don't care about you because
Well,
look at all these people you don't care about.
well, everyone's got
Yeah.
an ego. If you don't have an ego, then you
Oh
shouldn't be
yeah,
in show business.
sure.
You have to understand that generally speaking, in Hollywood, the writer is at the lowest rung, even though you can't shoot a TV
Mm,
show or a movie. Okay, let me rephrase that.
sure.
In movies, in particular, people hate writers. The producers, everybody hate writers. They feel they could, if they could only write it themselves, they would, but they
Yeah,
have to get these people who can write dialogue. They don't really
yeah,
like us. They don't like
yeah,
writers. Television is a little bit different because you've got a showrunner who
yeah,
is, for the most part, the writer of the show, the person who either came up with the show or
mm,
is a hired gun that knows how to do show running,
mm,
and either they write all the episodes, but more than likely they will write outlines and then hand it off to a writer
yeah,
amongst the writing team, and they would do a draft. But for the most part, the showrunner would do the final polish, and even though they wouldn't get a credit for writing the
yeah,
show, uh, they could rewrite the whole damn thing if they don't like what the writer came up with.
mm,
So, which is one of the reasons you have to watch out for writer credits. In
yeah,
television, the writer is super important and highly respected,
yeah,
but not in movies, which is weird. So, and
mm,
I mean, as far as ego is concerned, everyone's got an ego.
yeah,
Right now, Hollywood is in a turmoil because they've screwed the number of money-making avenues for their products. It used to be
yeah,
pretty straightforward. You put it in the theater, then you got it out onto DVD or VHS.
yeah, yeah,
And then after that got finished, then it went on a
mm,
TV network to be to be uh,
yeah,
to be played on a TV network, and then it went into the bargain bin. But
yeah.
now they've
And
proved
reruns
reruns,
on,
yeah, not
and getting translated to other countries and stuff.
sure, but not
You
movies. Now
know,
I'm talking about movies,
yeah,
not movies. But so now streaming makes no money
yeah,
for anybody.
yeah,
It's a very bad business model. Netflix is successful because they were first movers and they
yeah,
just have such a huge volume of subscribers.
yeah,
But any of these streamers,
mm,
their ideal business model is to have people pay for the monthly subscription,
mm,
but nobody watches any of the stuff
right,
because it costs them money to stream over the internet. Bandwidth, they
right,
get charged bandwidth.
yeah,
So ironically, they want your money and they would hope that nobody watches any of your stuff. But
mm,
the truth is, Netflix and all these companies keep telling you of all the great stuff that they've got and are coming up to keep you from canceling the subscription.
yeah,
but it's a terrible model, and nobody knows how to make money off it. Really, the best money model for making money is a show that has got some commercials in it.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
and I think,
yeah, I mean, the
yeah,
studios are firing all sorts of huge talent with big contracts.
yeah.
I'm not really
Was it
following it. I
JJ
don't care.
Abrams? Yeah, JJ Abrams just got fired. He had a
Oh yeah,
500
thank
million
God.
dollar. It's like, yeah, exactly. Like, why are you giving this guy $500
Well,
million
the
to
previous
screw you?
administration did,
Yeah.
and now the present administration has to deal with that. Anyways, yeah,
Now,
it's a tough situation, and hopefully they get it resolved. But one of the problems is streams of revenue are gone.
right. I was watching a WDW Pro podcast, and they're talking about $40 billion. I think it's 40 billion per year has been lost because of streaming.
Yeah,
Because they haven't put out this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because they haven't put out DVDs. And I noticed, like, with Netflix, when they had the Marvel shows, they had where are they gone? Oh, they were around here somewhere. But
you mean
they
the
had
movies?
no, the TV shows. What's that? So I noticed, they would put out these things for the Netflix. So you'd have this for Netflix.
Oh, okay.
This is a Netflix figure, right? It comes around about.
Is that Cage? Is that Luke Cage?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
like
Christmas.
Luke Cage.
Yeah, and so they had this out, and so you had the TV show if you really loved it, and I've also got gosh, I can't remember her name, but the lady from it, and also
Jessica Jones.
That's the one, because I love that show. So
that was fantastic. The first season of Jessica Jones was scary as shit.
Yeah,
that was psychologically really damaging to watch.
Yeah, it wasn't. And it was. They did really well, right?
Yeah.
For that whole thing, and then it got taken off, and
right.
Then, so you had the physical thing that could have put out DVDs. Everybody would have loved, if they had the DVDs, people would have loved it. Each season, there would, the whole collection and stuff. But once their characters were taken off them, suddenly there was like the rawness and the I guess the love for it was gone. Like these characters, that there's this, the people who are working on the Netflix shows totally wanted to do the best job they could, but then you go to Marvel and you see Daredevil like that, and you go, what, and you kind of feel like, well, they don't seem to love it as much as Netflix did, because
Disney hates strong males in any role.
Yeah,
they need to replace them with boss ladies.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, you get someone like him walking around and being, the epitome of masculinity, but also, just being that figure, the gentleness about him that he doesn't have.
I loved him. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I loved the first half of that season. And then the second half, after the antagonist left and was replaced by that other weird guy with the military equipment. I didn't, then it went stupid.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy it. But the first 4 shows were, they were fantastic. I loved it. Anyway, then I don't know what you thought, but I thought it fell apart at the end. So
I loved the first season. I didn't watch the second one. Didn't really think about.
I'm talking about this first season. The first season, there's 2 parts.
Yeah.
There's the part where they had a really good bad guy, and I can't remember his name, a famous actor. God damn it.
Yeah.
I can't. I'd have to look it up. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, no, Disney doesn't know how to do anything good.
I think
anyway. So the revenues are gone. They're not selling as many DVDs and stuff like that, and streaming is not making any money. And the studios don't want to split up. They don't want to give up streaming credits because they're not making any money at it. So they're in a very difficult bind. And so I mean, I'm not negotiating for anybody, and I don't get paid by Hollywood. I care.
Yeah.
And you know, we're going to see a drop in the amount of stuff that is slowly returning back into the theaters finally. But anyway.
Yeah, they reckon they've been playing like old movies that have been doing really well. You know, like some, what was it, like they said this, they were playing, gosh, and
In the
everybody's enjoying
theaters?
them because seeing older movies from the 80s and 90s in the theaters, because then you get to see the classics return to the big
Sure.
screen that you missed out on. And I think that's a good way to do things as well, because you're able to make money again off something that you've already
Well,
produced
yeah,
and
well, they
made
don't
money
make
off.
a ton, but I mean,
Yeah.
and not from New Zealand.
No, we're very small for the, you know, for the pond.
Are you
For the
near a
bank.
big city?
Oh, I'm in Whangarei, which is like about 2 hours from Auckland up north.
Okay.
So we're quite a big city, but
Okay,
we've
yeah.
got our
No,
cinema, but not big.
I know Auckland and Christchurch. There you go.
Right.
That's all I know.
Yeah,
And Hobbiton.
I think we're probably like a 1/5 of Auckland, that
Okay.
size and
Yeah, I
city-wise.
know Hobbiton. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, Hamilton.
Hobbiton.
Yeah. Did you have you ever? I'm like you've got a brother over in Australia, but did you ever visit Australia and New Zealand, or
No.
did you
It was we spent a month in Australia. We barely saw it.
Yeah.
One of the Frantics lived in New Zealand for a good chunk of time.
Okay.
He left Canada. Peter Wildman left Canada and then joined his brother in New Zealand.
Okay. I think like in the natural country kind of things, we're very similar to Canada, and like, you know, with our environment and nature and stuff.
Yeah, so it looks like a beautiful country.
It is, and I love it here. And I think it's, you know, the more people with more talent come over, because we have a lot of brain drain, right? A lot of because we don't have the money to pay them the top dollar. Being a small country, they always either go to Australia or elsewhere. But
Sure.
I mean,
China.
I think, yeah. And I think with the older crowd, they come over to retire. And I've seen, you know, I think it was Shania Twain or somebody who came over and started over in Christchurch and stuff.
Speaking of Canada.
Yeah.
She's got money.
Sure yeah.
She's got money.
Yeah. You spend all your life making money, and then you go, okay, I just want to chill out now. Where do I go? Where's a nice little chill out country? Oh, New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a nice little chill out. Yeah. I think I'll buy some of New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah, they had issues with that, trying to buy up a bit of things.
I think Jacinda retired yet?
Yeah, she ran away.
She ran away.
Yeah, she ran away halfway through her 4th year.
The former most popular politician.
Yeah.
In New Zealand, suddenly she had to hightail it out.
Yeah, she it's one of the best meme about her is Joker meme, Heath Ledger.
Yes.
When he throws the bomb at, you know, when he presses the button or whatever at the hospital and walks away.
Yeah.
And they go Jacinda, New Zealand and Jacinda. That's the best meme ever. Yeah.
Man, people loved her for a good chunk of time though.
Oh, I think it was Christchurch that people started seeing her, you know, after that, tragedy that happened in Christchurch, when people went, this is something not right here about her. And that was it.
Yeah, from what I could see, a mammoth ego.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could just go down and run New Zealand for a while, then I could fix it all.
I mean, we all have the same idea, you know, like if we just stop selling everything to everybody else, you know, to actually own our land and
drawers of wood. Airports. Yeah, I mean, Canada's got the same problem where we don't manufacture anything. We just sell our wheat and
that's it,
and water, and give our water away to Nestle's, and I don't know.
Same here. I mean, Nestle's, it seems to be the ones that buys up all the water everywhere.
I know, they're bastards.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and we've got a railway, and people are trying to buy that. Airport, you know, when you give away your infrastructure like that, it's like, well, what you gonna leave for the future, right?
I know.
And yeah,
who knows?
Fiji went through that one time. That was the last coup, right? For that reason, because from a prime minister, Caresi was selling off actual land.
Wow.
That belonged to the country, to overseas, and that's when Bainimarama stepped in and said, no. And this is why people don't understand what was happening. no, we're not selling our land, right? This is our land, and we're not just going to give it away to people.
Yeah, it's not
from
like it's a
overseas.
huge
We just want to-
country.
yeah, and it's just like the water. Same thing happened with the water.
Yeah.
Fiji water's everywhere. So for 10 cents for Fiji, becomes $1 for somebody else.
Well, for sure.
You know, and it's like, wait, what's
we're
happening?
giving away the water to Nestle's for free. Okay, I don't want to talk about that, but we should wrap things up.
Sure. So now I want to just thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
I think we had and I'm sorry about for the lateness of it all.
Hey,
now,
you had promoted 7 p.m. on the YouTube channel too, man.
Yeah, and my brain just like I had a disk slip back. What is it called?
Slip disc.
Yeah,
that's
and that's
terrible.
been like really, been going crazy and being in and out of bed for the last 2 days.
Man,
and
take it easy.
Wasn't working.
Shit.
I'll try, and I thank you for what you do. I really appreciate it. I love your channel, and like I said, I wouldn't have watched One Piece unless I'd seen your channel.
Many people have said that. I'm glad they like it.
And I'm it's enjoyable, and the way you present it with such humor and such insight, I just enjoy it so much. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you coming on.
I like doing it. I like talking to people like you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So we'll really appreciate it. Wherever, thank you. So with that, everybody else, I forgot, we do a 3 to 5 minute ending where we get you a chance to say the last bit and whatever you want to say. We'll go put you onto full screen for 3 minutes, and that's you. Is that okay?
I have to talk to for 3 minutes?
Something inspirational, whatever you want to say to people out there. Promote your show, anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just caught me off guard there.
I'll give you a moment to think about it.
I have a couple of words of wisdom. That's about it.
That'll do.
Hello, kids. How are you? So stay off the drugs, at least the hard stuff. Don't forget that, people ask me for advice on how to be successful. And one very famous Canadian who most of you in New Zealand don't know said that if you quit, you lose. So I've always remembered that. That was important. For those of you who are entrepreneurial, one of the things, I've started many businesses and I am an entrepreneur. One of the amazing aphorisms, one of the aphorisms I have about being an entrepreneur is, an entrepreneur is someone who is absolutely certain of success, but completely shocked when it happens. So, and that kind of works with the first saying that I told you, if you quit, you lose. So, just stay at it, stay the course, try to be good to people. Give everybody only one chance. If they screw you once, then don't have anything to do with them again. That's the other hard lesson that I learned. Just don't just keep giving them chances. You got a business to run. What else can I say about show business? About show business, not just business, because I can talk about anything. I can talk about business or show business. Have I reached my 3 minutes, Aru? Yet there was something
you
brilliant
can carry on.
to say.
Yeah, I mean,
and I can't remember it.
Yeah, it's, if you want to say more, it's fine.
No, I think I'm I think I'm done. That I thought
Thank you
that
for
was
that.
wow. That was possibly the worst 3 minutes you will ever see.
That was perfect though. Like, I mean, I never thought about that, giving people just one chance. We had told like 2 or 3, right?
No,
but it's that song, once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Now with that, I just want to put this up, and then we'll finish up. Hey, thanks, Mr. Chato. Keep doing it.
And thank you, Mr. Nugget.
Nugget. Took me a while to figure out. So wherever you are, guys, thank you for watching. Ka kite anō. We'll see you next time, and be well, be safe, and thank you, Mr. Chato. Make sure you check out the Call Me Chato YouTube channel.
Yeah,
really
whatever
fun,
it is.
and
Bye.
it's just great. Thank you.